In Germany, electronic music started in the late 50s. In the beginning, it was totally experimental. The German Broadcasting Corporation had set up a studio in Cologne where composers like Karl-Heinz Stockhausen, for example, worked there. But Tangerine Dream developed their typical music style in the 70s, based on long ongoing sequence pattern with long improvised lines on top of it. But the music was more orientated to popular music than as to experimental. Tangerine Dream always wanted to be an innovative electronic rock band with a pure electronic sound. I started playing the piano at the age of 8, and I switched to the church organ with 11. And with 21, I went to Berlin to study music at the university. The band Tangerine Dream was founded by Edgar Froese in 1966. The members have been Edgar Froese and Christoph Franke. Both played a number of analog synthesizers, and they had these modular analog step sequences. With those, you can create the typical Tangerine Dream sequence pattern. I joined the band in November 1979, but my job was more to perform like a classical educated keyboarder than being an electronic musician. So I owned a Fender Rhodes piano, a Wurlitzer piano, and a Minimoog synthesizer. The first meeting with Michael Mann took place in summer 1980. Michael had seen the movie Sorcerer from William Friedkin, and he liked the score. It was done by Tangerine Dream. And he liked the electronic sound of the band, which was totally different from the usual sound of film scores at that time. Because normally the sound was produced with acoustic instruments. That's why he wanted us to score his new project, Thief. We were on tour through Great Britain in November 1982 and planned to play the final concert in London at the Dominion. And at the same time, Michael Mann was shooting his movie The Keep at the Shepperton Studios near London. So Michael invited us to visit the set so we could get an impression of the dark and mystical atmosphere of The Keep. And in return, we invited Michael to our concert. After the show, he told us that some of the parts of the music we had performed would go wonderful with his movie. And that was the beginning of our work for The Keep. The music takes that Michael Mann liked so much from our concert, he used and added it to his pictures as he wanted. But I think there were only 2 or 3 takes. All the other takes were composed traditionally in our studios in Berlin by working with VHS cassettes from the scenes of the film. I can't remember all the details, but what I have still in my head is the music for the final scene of the movie. The original take is a song from the film The Snowman by Howard Blake. It is a children's cartoon, and Michael had heard this song on the radio in his drive to the Shepperton Studios, where they were shooting the movie. And he was so impressed by this music that he asked us to arrange the final scene of The Keep. And I found a copy of the song in my archive. This is this one here, and I think it's handwritten by Howard Blake himself. It looks very professional. The Snowman song, We Are Walking in the Air. Unfortunately, the final scene was recut several times, and each time we had to compose a new arrangement for the song. So in the final version, I know only the chord changes had remained, but this beautiful and nice melody appears only once at the very end. The track Puer natus est nobis is a mass for 4 voices composed by Thomas Tallis, an English composer from the 16th century. And the Gloria is one part of the mass. Michael Mann wanted this music after the rape scene of Eva. Eva is the daughter of Dr. Cusa, and because this is the first time we see Mulasa, the evil ghost. And Mulasa, he rescues Eva by destroying the German soldiers and brings her back to Dr. Cusa. I wrote a piano score that we could arrange the music with our electronic instruments. This is my score, which I wrote. It says, Mess Puer natus est nobis by Thomas Tallis. And to look at it after so many years, I think it's really amazing for me. The tracks Heritage Survival and Sound in the Dark are pieces of music which we usually played in our concerts. And I think it's possible that we also played them in our concert at the Dominion in November 1982 in London. But as far as I know, the Keep version, these music tracks are not part of the film. And the track The Night in Romania is part of the movie, but during the production of the score, we called the music the Rejuvenation theme. And I found a copy of the score in my archive, which is this one here. Rejuvenation theme, composed and arranged by Tangerine Dream, Franke Fröse Schmölling. Because in this scene, Dr. Cusa's appearance, his face and his hands are transformed, rejuvenated by the magical power of the demon Mulasa. And therefore we call this music the Rejuvenation theme. Here I like to say something fundamental about music for films. The music should serve the film, should create certain atmosphere or emphasize specific characters or make them recognizable. But if you listen to the music without the pictures, it often seems incomplete or not always musical. That's why composers rework the music to be released on a soundtrack. And as an example, I would mention the Tangerine Dream soundtrack to Michael Mann's movie Thief. But with the Keep, we 3 composers, Franke, Fröse and I, we never did so. We never ever reworked the music for a soundtrack release. That means there is no authorized soundtrack of the Keep. I left the band in summer 1985 and Christoph left in 87. That means until we left the band, there was no authorized soundtrack from the Keep. Never ever. I'm referring to this CD here. It is a release on the TDI label, I think around about 1998. And Ancient Power Plant is track 2. But I must say I haven't heard this song ever before. Looking back over the last 40 years and considering the development of the band Tangerine Dream under my membership, the years from 1980 to 1985, I have to say that scoring movies has brought the band a lot further musically. And I think the most important who helped us personally is Michael Mann, no doubt. He had shown courage in engaging a German group with a completely unusual electronic sound for his film Thief and The Keep. And especially with The Keep, the band could show their potential from producing dark and mystical atmospheres to editing and arranging classical music. And what I can say, whenever Michael visited us in our studio in Berlin during production, it was always a very friendly and creative atmosphere. So I think Michael Mann was a stroke of luck for the band, and especially for myself and my future career.